Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. This is Gianni DePocha, your host. It is Wednesday, so that means it's time to review the geocosmic activity of the past few days and the ones ahead. So this week, the geocosmic activity is actually pretty muted. We came off a very intense period last week where we had signatures such as Pluto direct, Venus opposite Saturn, Mars ingressing into Scorpio, and Mars trine Saturn. We also had a solar eclipse over last weekend, but this week, not that much going on until Saturday, where we have a square aspect between the Sun and Pluto. So let me go ahead and share my screen. We can start off by looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So we had a nice rally here, but getting hit hard on the chin in the Dow. We just completed another lower high. We've been talking about two potential cycle labels, and as of right now, it does look like the low from the 25th of August is more significant with respect to the short-term direction of the stock market. Now, we do have another eclipse next week, and a lunar eclipse, the same day that Mars will oppose Jupiter. So the end of this month should see some reversals as well. But in the short term, it does look like a new trend is established, and that could be lower. If we go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ, we'll see that the NASDAQ yesterday underperformed to the downside. It's down pretty hard today as well, trading at the session lows. So if we go out near the lows of the week, wouldn't be surprised to see a prolonged decline into the fourth quarter, but that could set us up for some intermediate term cycle lows in a very interesting stock market, especially as we look ahead into next year. You know, with Jupiter set to form a conjunction with Uranus and Taurus, Taurus rules stocks. Jupiter's wealth, Uranus is boom bust. So we could see a booming stock market in 2024. We will, of course, talk about the possibility of that much more in detail in Forecast 2024, which, by the way, you should visit www.mmacycles.com and pick up your copy now before it sells out. Let's go ahead and take a look at interest rates. The interest rate on the 10-year Treasury rose to its highest level since 2007. So we've now had three hotter than expected inflation reports in a row. So as they say, 2 is a coincidence, 3 is a trend. This has been MMA's position for quite some time, that the inflation we saw in 2021 and 2022 was just the first round. And after coming down for several months, we knew where we were in several intermediate term cycles in crude oil and in bonds. And we basically said, hey, there's a good chance that inflation picks back up again. And the bond market is confirming that. So we're at above 4.9% now in the 10-year rate. So you can lock in guaranteed returns for 10 years at 4.9%. That'll be your interest coupon. But we'll be interested to see if bonds reverse going into Sun square Pluto. It is always nice to see a low form. We had it here on the 12th, which was 2 days after Pluto turned direct and the same day that Mars ingressed into Scorpio. So Pluto rules debt. Obviously, Scorpio has some, debt-related connotations. So we saw that reversal right on time. It's nice to see. Let's go ahead and take a look at the U.S. dollar. I'll go ahead and use the euro as a proxy here. Pretty sharp reversal down lower today. Lower lows and lower highs. It remains in a firm bearish trend. Ulrich Aspergen and I had a really nice conversation about the euro a couple weeks back. I would encourage you to check it out if you want to know what MMA's position on the dollar and the euro is especially. So right now, I don't think that the dollar is showing any signs of significant weakness just yet. We might have to wait a few months per the cycle count. And perhaps even, when Jupiter makes the conjunction to Uranus, that could have a more profound impact on the dollar. Let's go ahead and take a look at crude oil using USO as a proxy. It's looking increasingly like this low from October 6th was the primary cycle trough. I know we had some questions in the videos before. We're going to have Puyan Zulfagarnia on next week, our MMA crude oil analyst, so we'll dive deeper into the energy market for you. But the best place to see what we're looking at in energy markets is the monthly addendum plus, which Puyan writes, the monthly cycles report, where Puyan analyzes WTI crude oil, and of course the monthly ETF report, which will be published next Wednesday. So yeah, energy is looking pretty bullish now. This is definitely a tailwind for higher interest rates, and given the geopolitical situation and some of the supply issues around the world, this is looking like it's going to make new highs. Now, I did see recently that The U.S. offered to ease some sanctions on Venezuela that could help some of the supply side issues in the immediate term, but I don't think it's enough to make up for some of the broader global issues the energy market is facing. I want to take a look at gold. We'll look at GLD, and this is a really nice textbook example of the strength of MMA's method. So, here we formed a low on October 5th, and this was while Mars was in Libra. And Mars went into Scorpio on the 12th. And one of our techniques is to look for a low in gold while Mars is in Libra, and then look for a significant rally of at least 8% once Mars goes into Scorpio. So we saw a really big pop, and I know that our readers that trade precious metals were very happy about it, and we are as well, obviously. But really nice surge here in gold. The rally in GLD, which is not the same as the spot price, has been over 8%. Usually it's around 8.5% that it rallies, so it should see a little bit more upside, but will be interesting to see how the rising rate environment impacts precious metals in the short term. Now I want to look at Bitcoin. Very volatile day. We saw a huge spike on Monday, but it quickly closed back down that key $29,000 area, which is something we've been talking about in our reports, a very key level that we want to see prices exceed. Now the concern is, are we going to be dropping into a 15-month cycle low? We could, if Bitcoin makes a new low below the June 15th low sometime in December, that could be a candidate for a 15-month cycle trough and would set the cryptocurrency up for a very bullish year in 2024. And that's, again, when we look at Jupiter set to conjunct Uranus and Taurus, that could be a pretty bullish catalyst for cryptocurrency. So definitely something to keep monitoring in the coming weeks. But those are all the markets that I really wanted to review with you today. So let me go ahead and get out of my chart here. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, we just published the monthly MMA cycles report on Monday. So you can check that out at www.mmacycles.com. Next week will be the monthly ETF report, be published on the 25th of October. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we are in forecast season. So this is the best time to reserve your copy of Forecast 2024, which Ray and other analysts, including myself, Puyan, Wyatt, Ulrich, and others are working on diligently to give you our insights for the year ahead. So thank you everyone so much for watching. www.mmacycles.com. Enjoy the rest of your week.